Hey guys, how's it going? Tominator here. So let's take a look at this 212 division for the 2019 New York Pro. In my opinion, this was easily the most exciting part of the entire event because of all the spicy controversy surrounding these top two guys. So even though there's four gentlemen in this frame here, I'm not really going to pay attention to the two on the outsides because really the heart of the story here was the battle for first place between Ahmed Ashkanani on the left and Eduardo Correa on the right. So I've read a lot of comments on Instagram and YouTube, etc., and pretty much everybody seems to be saying this was a robbery because Eduardo was easily way more conditioned than Ashkanani, who on the flip side was, if we're being perfectly honest, was holding a film of water, right? But as I often do, I'm kind of going to play a little bit of devil's advocate because, in my opinion, this was no robbery. This was certainly controversial, but I think when we go through the mandatories, I personally have Ashkanani winning the majority of them, mostly based on superior size and structure, okay? And for that reason, I don't think this was a robbery. I do understand the complaints, but without continuing to spoil, let's just go through and you'll see what I mean. So in the front double biceps, this one goes to Ashkanani, all right? Because he cuts a better outline, he's got better proportions, the arms are bigger, he's broader through the shoulders, has a better taper, all right? So Correa's edge and definition is not enough here. I do like the whole torso of Correa, how he's showing some abdominal definition, how we can see a serratus, we can see the outline of his ribcage as he executes this partial vacuum. His legs are a little more detailed and drier than Ashkanani's for sure. But the arms and the whole outline of it is just not as impressive as what Ashkanani's showing us. And Eduardo's arms actually have a bit of an asymmetry going on where the left one his left arm is noticeably smaller than the one on the right. I wouldn't be surprised if that has to do with his, I believe he had a triceps surgery and he was out for about 2.5 years. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was on that left arm because it's not measuring up to the one on the right. So his symmetry's thrown off a bit. And yeah, for all those other reasons I said, Ashkanani takes the front double. And he also takes the front lat spread because he fills it out much better. He's just got crazy width through those lats, and we'll see that from the back as well. But also his delts, he's much broader through the shoulders as well. So that's helping him fill out this pose better. Eduardo has pretty good width through the lats, but his shoulders are a little narrower, so it kind of throws off the look of the pose to my eyes. His chest is showing some striations and stuff, which is nice, but then again, Ashkanani's chest is fuller. And downstairs, they're fairly even still, even though you might give a slight edge to Eduardo, but from the front, I actually, you can make an argument that Ashkanani has better quad sweeps, so the edge in conditioning, though, will give Eduardo wins from the side and the rear from the waist down. Because right here you can see that the side of his thigh is just deeply etched, all these lines and stuff. His calf is much better than Ashkanani's. Ashkanani has really good hamstring sweep, I'll give him that. But other than that, I'm not really seeing enough definition downstairs. He's got some little gnarly vascularity going on too, which helps, but not enough separation there. And his upper body as well looks like kind of just one big jumble of muscles. I'm not really seeing any separation between muscle groups here. And I think that Eduardo's chest actually measures up very well. He's presenting it great here. So I give the side chest to Eduardo for sure over Ashkanani. And when they turn around, this is kind of like where a lot of people, I've seen the comparison side by side of their back double biceps. And this is why a lot of people are crying foul, because obviously Ashkanani's getting his ass kicked here. I don't think anyone can deny that. I mean, the back development, all the rippling muscle, the thickness, how deep those cuts go. I mean, he's got like a freaking ravine down the center of his back there. So in terms of thickness, in terms of detail, he's just destroying Ashkanani here, who looks very smooth and washed out. And also through the delts, Eduardo's neatly separated. Downstairs, his glutes are rock hard. He's got chiseled hamstrings. So this is an easy win for Eduardo. Even the asymmetry in the arms is not very evident from the rear. Ashkanani, about the only good thing I can say about this pose for him is, again, the taper, the width factor that he brings. He's got big shoulders and arms, but he's not really presenting it well. He's elevating his shoulder girdle, it looks like, which is hurting his back thickness even more. The angle that he's hitting this pose with his arms, he's not showing them off from the correct angle, so it's making them look diminished. They should look bigger than they do. So his whole execution here just sucks, and he needs to work on this pose big time because he's not displaying his body very effectively. And again, obviously, Eduardo beats him in the glutes and hamstrings. But in the rear lat spread, this one's much more competitive, and I honestly think it could go either way. I would actually lean slightly towards Ashkanani for the incredible width that he brings. I mean, even if you stack this guy up against the open class competitors, there's not too many guys that could really hang with him width-wise, especially if you're considering like width to height ratios here, because obviously Ashkanani is a shorter guy. He'd get dwarfed in the open class, but the astronomical width that he brings is just crazy. So even though Eduardo's got much better detail through the center of his back, once again, a much crisper lower body, he's just not showing enough taper. And I feel that the lat spreads, both the rear and the front versions, are primarily about showcasing width, taper, and it tends to favor the guys with a better structure, which is in this case Ashkanani. So I would lean towards him on this one. I know that's a bit of maybe a controversial call, so you guys can let me know in the comments below what you thought about the rear lat spread especially. I'd be interested to hear that, because I think I could go either way depending on your point of view. In the side triceps, I've seen other video footage, other pictures where it's not taken from a great angle for Ashkanani, and he looks hella awkward. It looks like he's mishitting it entirely. But from this camera view, it actually is pretty much bang on, and I think it works for him here. Eduardo, again, is beating him in the lower body, but when we go upstairs, Ashkanani's just got so much thickness. I mean, look at the size of his arms and triceps and shoulders, the pecs even. He's just like a powerhouse, and I think he's kind of out muscling Correa in this one. So I would go with Ashkanani here based on this look. In the abdominal and thigh. Now, it goes without saying that Eduardo's going to win this one pretty much by default, because he actually has visible abs, whereas Ashkanani's, you can barely see him. So you cannot in good conscience reward a guy an ab and thigh pose when you can barely see his abs. And also Eduardo has better separation through his quads. So definitely an easy win for him here. However, if you were to give the midsection of the guy on the right, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but if you slap that on Ahmed Ashkanani, Ashkanani is winning this pose because, again, he carves a better outline. He's got much better width through the upper body. Eduardo looks very narrow through his lats and pecs here. So even though he's got great detail, I'm not really crazy about his structure in this one either. But, as we said, Ashkanani's too faded through the midsection, so obviously he loses that one. But in the most muscular, he's going to win this one as well, okay? Because, the size advantage that he has, he's just so much bigger than Eduardo and fuller through the delts and arms and pecs. And he's really going to shut the door here in the crab, especially because now the roundness of his delts comes into play. The traps come more into play. Eduardo looks good through the pecs. He looks good through the traps, but the delts and arms really let him down here compared to Ashkanani. So that's what it is, guys. I mean, I think it was definitely a close contest. There's certainly an argument to be made for Eduardo Correa. Don't get me wrong. If you think that Eduardo won this, that's a very valid point of view. But the fact of the matter is that the judges decided to go with Ashkanani, and I think that I think that their decision is also valid because, as we just established, Ashkanani's got better structure. He's got more size, more thickness, definitely a lot more width and muscle mass than Eduardo. So, I don't think the conditioning alone should make you a champion. I've already made videos of this very thing in the past. So, I'm just playing a bit of devil's advocate here, but this is my honest opinion. I don't think any robbery occurred. I think it was controversial, but not a robbery. So, thank you all for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this matter in the comments below. Stay tuned for my coverage of the open category, and also I'll try and do one for classic physique too. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. And until next time, I'm the Tominator signing off, and I'll be back.